All right, y'all. Welcome. Listen, I know normally I give y'all some time to get into the room, and I go in a little early so that Facebook can alert everybody. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to get into the room. And in the interim, I'm going to tell you about my guest today. I'm so excited to talk to her. I've not talked to her in February. It's a long ass time. Okay, so I'm gonna let y'all get into the room. Yes, I have one earring because the other one dropped off just now, but let's just pretend like you don't see it. If I stay at this angle, y'all won't notice. All right. So let me tell you about Jennifer, our guest today. I met Miss Jennifer back in Virginia State University in Byrd Hall. She was my second friend ever in Virginia State University, coming as a little island girl over to the big old United States. And I was just saying to her backstage that we have not talked in about 10 years, I feel like. But she has been doing amazing, amazing, amazing things. I know, Rochelle, you're ready. I see you. Rochelle had this marked on her calendar. Rochelle said, I cannot wait until Jennifer comes on. So I know, Rochelle, I know. So Jennifer is an author, a healer, a transformational coach. She's dedicated to breaking the strong Black woman culture by teaching women how to live in more passion, joy, and ease. Her work around helping Black women heal their deepest emotional pain around the toxic and painful relationships with their mothers continues to challenge the way the Black community talks about race, religion, and mothering. She lives in Atlanta with her teenage son and their dog, Bella. Today, we're going to be talking about unhealed trauma in women, y'all. Particularly and especially when it manifests itself as us thinking that we should have all the answers and not knowing how to ask for help. It's a super, super timely topic as we navigate these COVID streets when overwhelm is a constant state of being, right? So, welcome, Jennifer. You're on. I actually wish I was in the I wish I was in the audience during this to listen to this topic because it's like super juicy. I'm so excited, and I just I got 6 billion questions.
Oh Lord. Okay. Well, I'll have a couple of answers. I will start that I may have to pop over to my oven because I have some cupcakes in the oven, and then they're like the kitchen is right there, so I just have to let you know because I multitask. So when the bell go off, I gotta take my cupcakes out of the oven. But besides that, I'm here for y'all. So
all right, Jennifer.
You're like, where the hell did she go?
She went to get the cupcakes out the oven.
I was getting the cupcakes out the oven, girl.
So I want to start with who you are. Who is Jennifer beyond the book, beyond the work? How would you describe yourself?
Oh, wow. I'm a creative. I'm an artist. For me, my life has always been about communication, and expressing myself, and wanting to be heard. So I think all of my work kind of, emanates from there. My personality emanates from there. What I do for fun, has grown out of those spaces. So I think, I'm an artist, and I'm sensitive about my shit.
It's interesting because I was talking to Jennifer backstage, and I was telling her that I'm not surprised that Jennifer is doing this work because
tell her how long ago this was that we met, though. You have to give context to the year.
Well, this was 1993. 1993 at Virginia State University in Byrd Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And we were both just beginning our university careers at a historically Black college and university.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an exciting time. Like and when I met Jennifer, she has the biggest personality ever. I am not surprised she is doing this work at all. She is like, I told her, even when she was a teenager, when we met, she was not a teenager. She was like a little old lady, just wise and full of information that she shouldn't have had.
And I don't remember any of it because I was like high during most of that time. Really? Okay, tell me more. Because I was trying to turn up at the gym jam.
So listen, the first time I ever had my nails done with acrylics was by Jennifer. Listen, she is a multi-talented woman.
I was doing it, and I was doing acrylic, and Nikki was doing these super hyper realistic penis dreams.
I was. Do you remember that penis? I was looking for that penis drawing. I don't know where it is.
Yes, Nikki was the first person I ever. You know how like it's in style now for people to be out in public in their pajamas. Nikki would wear her pajamas in public and her hair rolled up and her back then.
I'm consistent though, is what I am. I'm consistent. I mean, if you talk to anybody that worked with me at any of my jobs when I was in like corporate, I wore slippers.
Yeah.
To and from work.
She was ahead of her time.
I was. And now athleisure, now you have all of those terms.
Yes.
I could have been a billionaire.
We both could have been.
Multiple times.
If we knew what we know now.
So, all right. So tell me about this entrepreneurial journey that you're on, because I am so proud of you. Your platform is growing. Your message is amazing. And you are so passionate about it. So tell me about this entrepreneurial journey.
So I think for me, I've always wanted to make my own decision. So either one way or another, I was always going to be in an entrepreneurial space. And but it's more than that. I've always wanted to be seen. So I knew I felt isolated growing up. I felt invisible. And I knew I didn't want anybody else to feel that way. So it's, outside of being an entrepreneurial, it is definitely more like a ministry, because I realize how many people feel alone. And it's like, damn, if you just knew you weren't, that takes so much of the pressure off. Like, you think you're the only one going through what you're going through. That's like the biggest lie we go through in our, as we go from birth to death, that I'm the only one, that no one else would understand my experience. So that creates actually more turmoil on top of whatever you're going through. So my thing is, if I can ever let people just know you're not by yourself, you're not the only person. And for me, that's all about just exposing all my shit. And then we talk about it. And then giving you an example of what it looks like to do that and teach people how to do that, and teach people how to own, especially Black women, own who they are. I just don't know what else is better than that.
I want you to tell me what this thing is, the Black mother wound. Tell me what it is. Share with the audience. Educate us.
Well, the mother wound itself is the trauma that the mother has that she passes down to her children, specifically to her daughters, based off of the patriarchy. It's a sense of powerlessness that she feels, and she parents through her powerlessness. What makes a Black mother wound different is it isn't just through the gaze of patriarchy, it is also through the gaze of systematic racial oppression. So it is the powerless and trauma of Black women, and that they use and they parent through. Really, it's patriarchy, racism, and the church, but the church holds racism and patriarchy real tight together. And what it leads to in daughters is a lack of autonomy. Means you don't own your life. You don't see yourself as an individual. you don't have your own values. Everything about who you are reflects back to who your mother is, who your community is, who your social circle is, even in a greater way. And so it's in a space where, and there's a spectrum, because you could have had a mother who was a complete, she just did everything wrong. She was physically, emotionally, psychologically, she was every kind of abusive, abandon you, everything. And then you can go all the way to the other end of the spectrum, and you have a mother who, she worked hard every day. She was there for you. She cooked all the meals. She paid the bills. You know, she made sure you had everything, you know, this ideal, elevated view of the Black mother. And in that, you can still be wounded because emotionally you have not been validated. And that's where you can't have that. You can't really have autonomy over who you are without someone validating you emotionally and helping you evolve and grow, and develop from baby, toddler, adolescent, child, through all of those stages. You need a witness. And when you have an emotionally absent parent, at the very least, and a highly abusive parent at the most, there's no way that they can see you and help you grow and develop. So you end up being, like I told you, I ended up being a 32-year-old teenage mother. I was 32 years old biologically, but when it came to raising a child and managing the process, I was like a teenager. I literally there were certain things I could do, but there were other parts I could not wrap my mind around. And it caused me to struggle for a very long time. And I mean, I'm 46 now biologically, but I feel like I'm just now hitting my 30s, maybe, or, you know, I'm like, you know, so yeah, but that's the Black mother wound. And hold on, let me go get my cupcakes. Just one second.
So thank y'all for who are just joining us now. We are talking to Jennifer Arnise. She is a friend and an author, a healer, a transformational coach, and she's dedicated to breaking the strong Black woman culture by teaching women how to live in more passion, joy, and ease. Right? She's getting her cupcakes now out of the oven.
I'm back.
But when she's not doing that, that's what she's doing. Okay. Right. So how do you overcome it? Like, how do you know if you are suffering through this?
Characteristics of a Black woman having a Black mother wound really goes down usually like this. She's hypercritical of herself. She compares herself to others. It's very difficult for her to ask for help. She has difficulty being vulnerable and forming strong emotional bonds. She doesn't really believe that anybody's ever going to be there for her. She's there for everybody else. It's difficult for her to accept compliments. I think that's 8 things. Those are the general things that I would look at. And if she looks at her friendships and her relationships at work and her romantic relationships, and she's really honest, they will mimic the relationship she has with her mother.
Okay.
A lot of people think they're dating their father. If you have a Black mother wound, you're probably dating your mother. You probably work for your mother, and your closest friends are probably your mother in some way.
Ooh, girl.
I know. This one, most people, they log off. They be like, okay, I don't want to hear no more about this.
No.
It's your entire life. It's like water. It's everywhere. So it's really a layered process. Healing is a layering process anyway. You know, yeah. It's really about one, acceptance of her and acceptance of you. That's really what it's about. Because then it's not about changing, you know, because when you can accept and you can agree the loss, you can start to see who you really are. And then you can learn to build a real relationship with yourself. Because most of us don't have a real relationship with ourselves. We have a relationship with who we think we should be.
Ah! So here you are telling me that I need to get back into therapy. Okay, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Get your foot up off my neck. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
It's real.
I mean, now what? I mean, okay.
That's really, it is an arduous process. I always tell people that you just have to feel that you're worth it, and you have to have a vision for your life. Because when you have a vision for your life, you know why you're working towards something, and you know if you're getting closer or not. So it's really about what is. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying, yeah, I think a lot of us think we have a vision, but we really need to get clear about, what do we want our purpose to be here? And that's not about vocation or money or the things that we acquire. It's like, how do you want to feel about yourself? And for me, my vision of my life is really simplified down to, I want to feel worthy of love. And I want to feel safe enough with myself to be vulnerable. That's really.
Girl, if you don't stop your craziness telling women to be vulnerable, if you don't stop it now, you know that we can't be vulnerable. What are you saying?
We can. And I was talking to a client yesterday, and she was like, well, Jennifer, I want to be vulnerable, but I picked the wrong people to open up to and this and that. And it's like, my vulnerability is not conditional on who I'm around. Right. It's like, it's me for me. First of all, can I be vulnerable with myself? So if I can be vulnerable with myself, one, I'm going to attract different people. And then the people who I know I'm not safe around, I'm not even going to be fucking with them.
But that thing right there, being vulnerable with yourself, we may take that as a given. I feel like most of us are like, yeah, of course. I mean, I know myself. I'm vulnerable with myself. Don't be ridiculous.
This is what Black women do. We are up here with ourselves. Girl, why did you do that? Why did you say that? What you gonna do? Why did you could have done better? You got to, like, we mother ourselves in an abusive way, in a way that's like hyper critical, which we call accountability, which we have deemed as the only way that we can move ahead in the world, is to like beat ourselves over the head with a stick and then second guess ourselves and then want to get it right every time. That's not vulnerability. Vulnerability is tenderness. If anybody wants to know what vulnerability is, just think about how you talk to a 2-year-old. That's it.
And we damn sure know that we're not talking to ourselves like that.
No, you don't. And how you talk to a 2-year-old, it doesn't matter what they do. You're like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Come pick that up. Bring that to me. It doesn't matter what they do. You see them as beautiful and cute and lovable, and you just want to be soft and mushy with them. That is what vulnerability is. If vulnerability does not mean you have to tell all of your business to someone, all your deepest, darkest secrets. Somebody has to earn that. Vulnerability is just an emotional tenderness. And the power of vulnerability, when you apply it, and Brene Brown talks about this, you cannot have creativity and innovation without vulnerability. If you're not being vulnerable, you are not really tapping into your creativity. You're not tapping into your innovation, and you cannot build community without vulnerability. Now,
that book is The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown. Absolutely. If anybody,
everything she writes about talks about vulnerability.
Yeah,
and really, her conversation is before vulnerability. It's about shame. So you can't get to vulnerability until you tell your story. That's why I said telling all my shit. That's the only way I have to rid myself of decades of shame. And vulnerability is a automatic process. It just happens naturally, like breathing. When you stub your toe, you're like, "Ow, that hurts." That's vulnerability. Oh, that hurt my feelings. We can say that hurt my toe, but we can't say it hurt my feelings. Because we don't trust our emotional feeling, but if you stub your toe, you trust that physical feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's learning how to trust your emotional anatomy and see it as real in the same way. And if you do that, then you can rid yourself of the shame. And that's why we don't ask for help, because you think there's a shame associated with you asking for help, because your value is in two ways. Black women's value is in how you fuck or what you know.
Well,
it's between your legs or between your ears. And if you don't got one or two of them together, there's no other use for you.
I mean, I'm letting this sit. I'm letting that sit for a minute, because yes.
Yeah.
How we move through, because vulnerability is hard as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that is the source of, I feel like that's a major source of where you begin, is vulnerability. Vulnerability with yourself.
Yeah, this is a thing. You have to really slow down, because most strong Black women who are successful, who are hypercritical of themselves, who don't like to ask for help, who don't like to accept help, who don't even know what the fuck they need help in, are moving really fast. So the things that you do, they're not really, you can come in. That's my son coming in. These are not things that are rocket science things you have to do. You have to just begin with slowing down. Like when you get up in the morning, sit on the floor for 15 minutes, close your eyes and breathe. I'm not even going to call it meditation, because there's so many connotations associated with meditation, but close your eyes, and can you be still and be quiet for 15 minutes? These are like really simple things that a lot of people can't do, because they need to pick up their phone. They need to be telling somebody what to do. They need to be calling somebody. They need to be doing some type of laundry, but learning to slow down, because when you slow down is where you get to awareness. And then you start to get to know yourself. What are the thoughts I'm having? What are the sensations that are happening in my body? Where am I holding tension? Is my brow always frowned? Do I clench my jaw? Are my shoulders tight? Do my hands tight? Do I bite my fingernails? Do I breathe deeply? Am I hunched over? Like becoming really aware. These are things you can do anytime, anywhere, and they're free to do. But that's really where you start, is with this level of awareness and trying to control everything that's happening, and just start to, okay, this is how I feel. Oh, I don't feel anything. Okay, stop assigning a value to things. Stop assigning a story. Why am I upset? And then you got to say, well, that's because of it. No, I'm upset. Okay, let myself, when a baby is upset, sometimes they just want to be held. It's not always a deep story. You don't even need to go all the way through things all the time. So becoming aware of how you feel. And the more you do this, things will come up and you're like, oh, I feel sad. I feel frustrated. I feel like I'm not good enough. When you start to get a gauge and there's words to it, I feel like I'm scared I'm going to lose my job. Okay. Just sit with that then. I'm scared I'm going to lose my fucking job. And when I lose my job, I'm going to get kicked out and this is going to happen and all this stuff is going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. Okay. Let the because the feeling doesn't stay unless you fight it. Okay, is there something I'm doing at work that I can do differently today? Okay, yeah, there are some things I can do differently. Oh, really? They just said in the last meeting how well I was doing. So, you can really start to investigate. That internal investigation builds trust, because your emotional self does not trust your mental self. So it has shut you out of the fucking game, because you're not trustworthy. Because you don't do what the fuck you said you were going to do. So when you start to investigate and pay attention, it starts to communicate more with you. And then a relationship can build. And the body can be like, girl, don't answer that phone. You know you're tired and you see who it is. Just let it go to voicemail. And you trust it enough because the other is like, well, they might so-and-so. But now you have this relationship with yourself and you're like, well, don't you want to just relax here and be calm and eat some ice cream and be quiet for a little while? And then that becomes a priority. And you start to center yourself. Because right now, everyone else is centered and you've been decentralized. That means everybody has access to you. You can't be vulnerable when everybody has access to you. So when you start to build that relationship, you can't be vulnerable when everybody has access because there's nothing left. It's like a mine that everybody has come in and got all the diamonds and the oil and the rubber and everything out. You're like, well, damn, because vulnerability is having something for yourself. So as you build that relationship with yourself, it grows. It's like it knows what to do. Like a tree knows how to grow. You don't be out there like, okay, what day you coming out? Like the tree knows what to do.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. So it's the same way. Your body knows what to do, but what it needs is a witness. And so you witnessing your emotional self makes it blossom. And then it takes on a life of its own. Next thing you know, you're saying no when you want to say no. You're saying yes when you want to say yes. You're expressing yourself more authentically. You're inspired by different things. And it's a flow. It's not up here, but it really starts with slowing down, becoming aware, investigating, and building a trusting internal relationship with yourself, where you have integrity with yourself. We are completely out of fucking integrity with ourselves. We think I'm such a good friend to this one. I'm a good mom to this one. Well, you're a fucked up friend to yourself. You're a fucking liar. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you want other people to treat you well.
Yeah.
And you mean shit to yourself. So it's like, and people see that. They're like, shit, she don't care about herself. So hey, whatever.
I was thinking about the comment you made about slowing down. And in order to get to know yourself and in order to feel those honest feelings and to be in a place where you can actually experience what actually is versus what's in your head. Don't nobody want to slow down. Don't nobody want to actually get next to themselves like that. Jennifer, that's a whole nother level of raw. Nobody wants to.
But this is the thing. What's going to happen is you're going to get put on your back sooner or later.
Right.
So you can choose it, or you can wait until it happens. You can wait until you get physically sick. You can wait until you have a abandoning heartbreak. You can wait until you lose everything. You can do all things because life is going to bring you an opportunity and say, sit your ass down.
Right.
So you can either wait, because I used to wait for. It would never happen for me. It was almost like I loved the crisis because I could get still in a crisis. I could figure it out. I could get calm. I could tune in and tap into my higher self.
Yes.
And then when the crisis was over, I go back to some bullshit. Now, how do I integrate that in my life so my life isn't like, because my life was like this. Sharp highs, sharp lows, and I stay down, 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 and then you come up. You don't have to do that because that really wears you out.
Yeah.
So now start when you can, start in small ways. Just start in small ways. If 15 minutes is a lot, set your alarm on your phone for 90 seconds and close your eyes, put your hands together and sit for 90 seconds. Do that for 7 days. The next 7 days, do it for 5 minutes. Like, I know what baby steps look like. So when people say, sit down, you're going to have, this long meditation or do this, that shit. That shit is you have to have built that up. And my thing is about creating plans for people that are sustainable, that you're going to build in and that you do for 10 years, and that it becomes so normal to you that you don't even think about it. But if you don't do it, you realize, oh, I know why I'm off today. I didn't do my meditation today. I didn't journal today. You know what? I didn't do my appreciations today. You get to the end of the week and you're like, oh, I didn't meditate all the week. And then you start to see the differences in your life, and the benefits are so great that you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that because I had a great day. Somebody said something off to me at work. It didn't even bother me. Any other time I would have been in HR. So it's like, oh, this shit really works. This is not woo-woo. This is like, oh, if you put gas in your car, it's gonna go somewhere. If you keep an oil change, your car is gonna run. These are regular maintenance things of taking care of a vehicle. You know.
So where do you think this strong Black woman culture comes from? Where does that come from? Why are we all in it? Why are we all
survival? So, you know, Black women had to abandon all emotional context. If you got a slave master trying to rape you, he's trying to rape your mama, he's trying to rape your sister, trying to rape your daughter, and you in the field at 5 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night, and you're trying to make sure he don't sell off 2 other kids of yours, and then you trying to know what's happening because you got another friend, she working in the house, and you got the management, the ether that she has to embody to keep everybody safe all the fucking time and put her life on the line so other people stay safe. When I say survival, I mean literal survival. And because Black girls are the valued, they are the most in danger. So she's like, oh my God, you know, she knows what is. So everything is about how to prevent her daughter from going through what she's gone through. So then you get Jim Crow, which is slavery still. You got the 30s and you got the 40s. My mother was born in 1946. She picked cotton for 15 years. So so her mindset was there. Her mother was born in 1919, never had a driver's license, had 14 goddamn kids. So do you understand like what it takes to manage all of that? So then she has a daughter, me. Now I'm in Washington, D.C. I got air conditioning. I got ride the school bus. Like my life is so different from hers, but she only sees her life. So her thing is still, how do you make it in this world? You know, you know, and then you get the church involved because the church is how Black women process their trauma, because the Black mother wound didn't start with our generation. My mother had one, but in those days, when you don't have autonomy, you are still a child. You look for your father. So they go to church to find their father, God, to give them guidance, how to make it in this world, how to live outside, and how to manage all this shit that's happened inside. How do we make sense? That was the therapy for 300 years, was church. Of course, it was run by men and white folks. So Black women got the shit in deal of church. So then you raise your daughters in more of that trauma. So it's, you know, nobody's going to be there for you. If you don't look a certain way, nobody's going to want you. People only want you for sex. You better know how to take care of yourself. You better know how to get out here and get a job. This world is hard. It's going to take everything from you. And then if you had a single mother, you saw how hard her life was. So you think, oh, that's what it is. And then it is touted as an honor to be a strong Black woman, to not need anyone. So then we took it and made it like chitlins. Chitlins is disgusting. But now we done made it a fucking delicacy because we didn't have nothing else. So the strong Black woman is the chitlins.
And now it's a badge of honor.
Now I call it a crown of thorns, because you put it on your head and all it does is cut into you. That I'm strong. You got all these memes. I'm strong. I do this even when nobody don't help me. I was like, where the strong white women? I ain't never heard a white woman call herself strong. She the first one to be like, I could never do what you do. I just can't. There's no strong Chinese women. You don't hear strong Hispanic, Latino women. How the fuck did strong and black get to be so synonymous? And then it became sexy. I want me a strong woman to hold me down. So you're like, oh wow, that's a positive trait in getting a man, being strong and not wanting shit. You have been fucking hoodwinked. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes.
You make me so sick.
I don't know if y'all heard earlier, but we were talking about how we met. Jennifer and I met at Virginia State University in Petersburg, Virginia. And in Petersburg, Virginia, it was basically the college and nothing else.
Nothing else. A couple gas stations and a high school.
And that's about it. And that's where we met. We actually met in our bird hall in our dorm room. And Jennifer was just the oldest teenager I had ever met in life.
But you have to realize too, I had been out of high school a whole year. Y'all had just come out of high school. I had been out of high school a whole year and had been living on my own basically for a whole year. Dating felons and drug dealers and up in the clubs and hanging out all night and stealing cars and being a fucking professional shoplifter. So when I was like, y'all are childish. I don't know about the real world.
So how do you think do you see the direct correlation now between that person that you were at 19?
Yeah, I'm making up for lost time. Because then also I was so emotionally shut down. There were so many things I wanted to say, I wanted to express. And it was like a chain link fence was wrapped around my heart and my throat. And I could not talk about any of it. And that's the whole thing why I talk about myself. It's like, no one would have ever thought I was going through what I was going through. Because I had good grades, I was in class, I was funny, I was, out here in these streets being cute, I had a job. So it's like, how is something wrong? So I know women who are walking around here like everything is okay. I know your shit is fucked up on the inside. And I know nobody else knows and nobody would even believe it. Yep. And that's why I do this. Like I have so much to let out. And so now I'm actually I was old then, now I'm real young now. I'm a big baby. I'm what's the name? What's that man who got old? He was old and he got young.
Yeah, Benjamin Button.
I'm Benjamin Button. Yeah. I need to be held and rocked and cradled like a baby. Now I will cry. I will tell you to hurt my feelings. I know I just need to take some time to myself. And that's the opposite. I was the product of so much trauma, childhood trauma, sexual trauma, and there was no vocabulary for it, period. But the show must go on.
Right. Right. Are y'all enjoying this? Well, you should see the comments.
I can't see anything. Oh, okay.
They are loving you. I love Jennifer's vibe. I subscribe to her ideal around vulnerability, but Bermuda does not like that.
What's that got to do with? No, neither does America. Atlanta, Georgia don't like it either. Do most appreciate it. It's only when people don't appreciate it here.
Do about Jennifer though. Let me tell you something about Jennifer. I don't care if you're talking about in her most feminine or in her most healed stage. The one thing that Jennifer don't do is give a fuck about what other people think. She does not care.
Like there are certain times, but like really, like I wasn't built. That gene is not built into me, and that's why me and my mother clashed so much. Like I was born free. That's why me and Nikki got along because we were born free, regardless of whatever else. At the end of the day, we gonna laugh at some shit that we shouldn't laugh at. You know, like so, but they don't like it. They don't like it here. You know, my mother doesn't like it. You know, people in my family have expressed their chagrin. You know, I have my relationships with my friends are not the same. You know, here it is the thing for now with Black women that I see in America is about us getting to the bag. You know what I'm saying? We have money goals, we got hair goals, we got body goals. We don't have healing goals here. It's not a priority. So it's really, it might seem different, but I'm still a straight oddball out here in these streets. Because
she's been saying that ever since she's been calling herself that.
And then people will be like, yeah, Jennifer's a strange bird. I'm like, you think so? Like, really? Like, you know, but my point to that is it doesn't matter who likes it. Mm-hmm. You cannot wait for the permission of others. I don't give a fuck. And I've lost a lot. So can't nobody tell me, well, you don't know about this or that. I done been homeless. I've been through everything. And what I would not give up was myself. It really doesn't fucking matter. Because you don't need but so many friends anyway. So, and then when you do it and you are living your life, other people they will gravitate towards you. So the people that you really want in your life, they can't recognize you. You want them to come to you first, and then you'll be yourself because you want this reassurance that is going to happen first. And that shit is ass backwards. Mm-hmm. Yep. They're sitting right next to you, but they don't recognize you. So they pass you by and you're like, I don't have anybody. Nobody understands me because you're not making yourself seen. You have to do the work first.
And being you is enough. Being you is enough.
There's billions of people in this goddamn world. You don't need all of them. Being yourself is enough. It's more, and the thing is, it feels so good. You have so much more energy left over. You don't understand how much gas you burn in your tank not being yourself every day. Yeah. You're not tired because of your job. You're not tired because of your relationship. You're not tired because of your kids. You're tired because you spend so much time holding yourself into a space that's not authentic.
Yes.
That's why you're tired.
Yes.
And you still don't have the stuff that you want. And you're tired. So I'd rather not have the stuff I want, but at least I feel good. I'm like, well, okay.
Yes. And it's so interesting you say that because I've been saying that right now I'm on the biggest, since, you know, what they say is that from 1 to 5 is the biggest download of information and growth that we ever go through. But I feel like I am in this cycle in my life, I am on my second biggest information download and growth and concept exploration. I am here now, right? And so I have rebuilt my business and what I'll be offering specifically on authentically aligning your brand and your business with who you are, right? You do not show up as two different people because it's exhausting to show up as two different people. It is exhausting to be Nikki at home, who is a mommy, and then to have to show up as a different person for Brand Lion. No, you just gonna get Nikki. Everybody gonna get the same Nikki. Everybody gonna get the same Nikki.
And you're gonna have your work is gonna be better. You're going to be a better mother.
Absolutely.
Everything, but that's the fear. People don't do it because there's so much fear of rejection. If you grew up with an emotionally absent, hypercritical mother, you've never been accepted. So I understand the fear. You've never been accepted for who you are. Someone has always told you that you should be someone different. So I get it. I get how hard it is. You have no fucking idea.
Yes.
I get it. But it doesn't change the fact that it's true. And you have to start somewhere. You may start this work for a whole year and you still might be living two lives because it just may take that long for you to create some type of habit in yourself. It might not be to the third year where it really starts to show. We have to get out of this Instagram microwave. Oh, in 90 days, you could have 6 figures in your account if you just download this program.
Right.
You know, get out of that. You know, I don't know who else listens to Abraham Hicks, but Abraham Hicks talks about a barge being in the water. You know, and a barge is like a huge ship that doesn't move really fast. You know what it takes for a barge to turn around? It's not like a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so even in that turning process, it looks like you're not turning.
Right.
Like it's literally because you don't want to flip over.
Yeah.
You still look like nothing has changed because now you really look like you're going in the wrong direction. But you don't trust because you're like, shit, I don't want to go there. I want to go this way. You just have to stick. That's how that shit is. This might be year 4. You know, you still pointed in the wrong direction. But you have to trust the vision. I got to take you through the whole thing.
Yep.
You know, like most people be like, fuck it. You know, you get stuck here. Then they still going off this way. You're going to get it wrong. Then you got to, you know, so it is a process, but you have to know you need to have support. Doing it by yourself is not the way to go because you're using the same mind that created the problem. Yep. And you have to have a vision for yourself, you know, and that's why the healing and building that internal relationship is going to let you know if what you're doing is working, you know, because this is the thing. I'm going to be 50 anyway. So do I want to be 50 here, or could I be here? So fuck it. I want to, like, it doesn't matter. So that's the whole thing. Go ahead and start now. You know, people like think about it like a college degree, a 4-year degree program. Like, you know, you need to kind of think about it in semesters. You're healing that way where, you know, to really bring it down for people who logically can't fathom it. It seems too much. Think about it like that. Okay, well, I like to accomplish this here, and then at the end, you're there. You know, but it is the work. If you're not doing this work, everything else you're doing is a waste of time. I hate to tell you.
That right there, that is important to know, right? And so obviously we all have our journeys. We all have our missions, you know, before we even get here. So, you know, yes, we're all going to take our own paths. But that right there is powerful, what you said. Like, it don't make nothing is going to make sense until you do the work.
It's like washing your car, but your transmission is bad. It's shiny, but now what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your engine is cracked, but you got new tires and 24s.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what else you're doing. And when you do this work, it enhances every other part of your life. Every other part of your life, it enhances, period. And nobody owes you anything. Nobody gives a fuck about how hard it is or what you got to go through. This is your life. This is your life.
This shift, though, in your thinking, first of all, is major because, we've all been sitting very, very nicely on the strong Black woman platform for a very long time. So this shift for you, though, it must have been uncomfortable as hell.
Listen, I was under a spell for 40, 41 years. That's what it is. It's a fucking spell. And I had an argument with my mother, and it was a breaking point. And it was like the spell broke during this conversation with her. And I saw my whole life and my whole life with her flash before my face. And it was like, fuck, I have not even been living my own goddamn life for 41 years. I'm still a 7-year-old fucking with her. Like, and it was like, oh, I had to learn everything all over again. But it was freedom because the spell was broken. And I think maybe a year later, I wrote my book. I had wanted to write a book for 20 years. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. And then one day it just all fell into place in my mind, how you write the book. And in like 3 months, I wrote the book and I was like, oh, understanding my relationship with her freed everything up in my life. Now, I hadn't spoken to her since we had that most heated discussion.
Right.
But I mean, it is what it is. That's her choice.
Right.
But I realized who she was and what I was doing. I was like, oh my God, I'm living her life. Oh, she was a strong Black woman. That's what I was. My mother worked so hard for me. I wanted to pay her back. And it's like, she worked hard, but the repayment is not to become her. We think that how we honor our mother is to become her, is to be miserable like her. Because she can't be wrong. Because we are raised to be good Black girls. We are very obedient. We do not disagree. The highest respect is to be like her. And so for me to get free, I don't have to be like that. It was like, oh, well, now I can decide. But it was really, that's why I talked to really understanding, are you seeing yourself in the mirror or are you seeing your mother in the mirror? Are you living out a debt you think you owe to her? Are you trying to prove something? Are you trying to pay something back? This idea of love in Black family is very skewed because it's all based off of sacrifice. Well, somebody gave this, so I got to give this. Jesus died on the cross, so now I got to give my life to Jesus. Forgive me for all the Bible thumpers out there. But it's like, so it's like my mother did this and I owe her that. As a mother, I have a perspective. My son doesn't owe me shit. I made a choice to have him. I could have went to the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
I made that choice to have him. He don't owe me his goddamn life. Like that concept in the Black, I don't know if it's like that internationally, but in America, especially in the South, it's like you owe your parent. They did this. That's my responsibility.
I think that's like that. Honestly, I think that that obligation and kind of onerous hardship repayment to parents, I think that's everywhere. I think that's universal because I even see that in Asian cultures, right? Where they are like,
you don't see it in white American culture.
Okay.
White people are being free. That is what America is about. That's why there's no other country that says this is the land of the home of the free. They meant that shit. That is what it's built off of. I get to do what the fuck I want to do. Now, yes, their privilege has taken it all the way too far. But this idea that I get to decide who I am, what I want, where I want to go, and how I want to move in this world is such a white American concept. And it's not a wrong concept if they just would allow other people to feel the same way. They just think everybody else should be able to have the same thing, that it's just not for them.
Yeah.
But that idea of debt and that shame is at the root of that. I don't want to shame my family. I don't want to shame my mother. So that's why you can't have vulnerability. That's why the relationship with the mother and the vulnerability go together, because if you're not willing to let go of this idea of who you are based off of you getting her approval, you can never be vulnerable because you're not even being yourself. That's really the root of this double-sided living. It's how can you still get her approval? What would make her happy? And the fucked up part is, too often making her happy means we have to abandon ourselves because she abandoned herself. But
it's crazy, you know. Yeah. What's crazy is that we have adults that are in their 50s, their 50s and 60s, that still have these obligations to their parents. Like, when does it end? When does it end? Like,
and a lot of it, they're then using, and I'm gonna call some people out, they're using a parent as a scapegoat not to live their life. Because it's an honorable way for you to be scared. It's an honorable way for you to be small in the world. It's an honorable way for you not to show up. I gotta take care of my mom, or I gotta stay here. She needs me, or she'll feel this way, or there's an art class I want to take on Sundays, but you know what? She cooks on Sundays, and she'll be real upset if I don't show up. She'll be all right. So we then use that as an excuse. So all of these things are going on, but only you know what's really happening. That's why if you get still, you'll know why you're doing what you're doing, and then you know what to do next.
Jennifer, I don't want to leave. Our hour is up, and I don't want to leave. Do y'all have any questions in the comments? I mean, I know I didn't leave y'all no question time. I know. That was inappropriate. I'm a horrible host. I'm gonna work on myself.
I saw the comments at one point, but I can't see them now.
Yeah, sorry, y'all. I didn't leave y'all any question time. Did y'all have any questions? I will work on myself as a host, okay? Because I started talking and forgot about y'all. Forgot to ask y'all's questions, okay? Sorry, y'all. I mean, I want y'all to follow Jennifer. Her platform is Miss Jennifer. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
On IG, it's Black Mother Wound. On Facebook, it's Jennifer Arnise. I'm not as active on Facebook, so just go over to Instagram at Black Mother.
On Instagram, she has lives, and she has a bunch of lives.
I do videos, and we have I'm doing a monthly Black Mother Wound healing series. So every month I have a class. We did January, of course, in January. The Thursday class is the fourth Thursday in February. So you can click the link in my bio over on IG, and you can sign up for that. I've got a book out, Fuck That Cape, The Grown Woman's Guide to Putting Herself, the Grown Woman's Unapologetic Guide to Putting Herself First. So the book is on Amazon. You can look my name up on Amazon and find the book there. I just got a lot of shit going on,
She does. Listen, and she paints. She's a painter. And she's gonna make satin scarves that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for limited. First of all, let me just tell y'all that there's a Virginia State University reunion up here in the comments because Malicious just came on. Malicious just came on too. She said, I hate that We about to have a band come through in a minute.
That's right. That's right.
Hey.
Go to the gym jam. Let me tell y'all a story first. When I used to dye my hair blonde, but I still dye my hair blonde, and I used to bleach my hair. Hold on. So there's always some religious trauma involved. Honor is a sense of respect, and they've taken that and they have definitely skewed that as to what it means to honor someone. Because really, the greatest honor I could give someone is to be my best self. Mm-hmm. That's the greatest way I could honor the work my mother and father do, is by healing my wounds and showing up as my best self and impacting others in a positive way. But the church doesn't look at it that way, because church is all about control anyway. But yes, so I used to dye and bleach my hair blonde, right? And so this time we had a gym jam, and I was trying to get my hair together, and I had bleached my hair platinum, but then I wanted to perm it too. This one I was with crack, it was not whack. And my hair was only like this big. It was like, I was Amber Rose in 93.
We was Amber Rose before Amber Rose even was a thought.
So I bleached my hair, I permed my hair, and I came up and all my hair was gone. Like gone. My hair was gone. And I put the towel around my head. This was in Howard Hall. And then I went back into my room, and I was in a panic. And I called Nikki into my room. I shut my door and I was like, Nikki, I got to show you something. I don't know what I'm going to do. Do you remember this? I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to show you this. You see her right now, right? I took my towel off, and I had no hair. And this bitch went into the corner and laughed. She went into the corner in a ball and laughed for like 20 minutes. I mean, hard, like hyperventilate, laugh.
I am so consistent as a person, though. I am so consistent as a person.
I just sat there on the bed and I was like, I shouldn't have called her. Right?
I needed a different type of support. This was not.
And she fucking would not stop laughing. She would not. Even though I was like, stop laughing. What do I do? Stop laughing. She would not fucking stop laughing. She was like, well, I guess you have to put the rest of it off. Because there was like, we had to leave in like 45 minutes. And I think she went and got like somebody had made like vodka jello shots, and she went and got me some vodka jello shots. In the ice
helpful. But you see that
helpful. Yes. And I got myself together, and then of course you have a barber on every floor in the dorm. So I had the barber come and line me up and get it all even. And I got cute, and then we went out, and everybody was like, I love your hair. And I was like, and so I owe that to that was the beginning of those Baldy days. So I owe that to her for her emotional support.
I'm an awesome friend, really. I'm an awesome friend.
It was not a laugh with me. It was a laugh at me. Like that type of laugh where no sound comes out, but the body is heaving. I was so mad.
Jennifer, thank you for coming on and sharing. And please, y'all, go follow her. I promise you, she is full of, as they say in the clubhouse street, she's full of gems. She is full of gems. I mean, she is dropping some knowledge over there on IG. She really don't pay attention to Facebook, so we're not even gonna send you there, but definitely go over there to IG and follow her. And I just thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, boo. We'll have to talk again soon.
Yes, I love you.
I love you too, Pootie.
Bye, y'all. I'm sorry. I'll get better with the questions. We'll have her again and we'll do questions. I know. I'm sorry.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.